Hello, I am Mikhail Marin, a Romanian Grandmaster, and I would like to highlight a few typical aspects of Mikhail Tal's strategic play. I know, Tal and strategy, these two notions don't seem to go together well. We all tend to associate Tal's name with Tal's image as a player with all kind of other terms, brilliant, genius, sharp, tactical, enterprising, breaking the rules. But talent strategy, we almost never put together. And yet I think this is not so true to the reality. I believe that Tal had certain strategic understanding. It was maybe more of a matter of style, of inspiration that took him away from the strategic path. But I believe that we can find clear threads of Tal's strategic thinking all through his career, starting from his match with Botvinnik up to his latest days as a player. I remember I had read in one of his books that when he started winning one tournament after the other, the Soviet Championship, he did it twice actually when he was young. Then the interzonal tournament, the candidates tournament, and finally the match with Botvinnik. Many fellow grandmasters felt like a personal offense that such a player who played some sort of never seen before chess, which was not the chess that you were supposed to play. I mean, nothing correct. Everything seemed to be irrefutable. They took it as a personal offense that such a player could reach the highest peak, could beat them, could take better places than them in tournaments, and could even fulfill the dream of everybody, becoming a world champion. The first game we are going to see, it will be only a fragment, actually justifies such a point of view. I mean, what Tal will be doing in the first part of this game has nothing really to do with what we supposed to be high-class chess. But okay, let's move on. This was the third game of his match with Botvinnik. Surprisingly for everybody, Tal had won the first game of the match. Why do I say surprisingly? Because he always used to lose the first game of the tournament. Somehow he needed one extra day to get into shape. Some friends even recommended to him not to sit down for the first game against Botvinnik, just lose it by forfeit and then start the match from the second game. But sometimes maybe Botvinnik knew that, and in the first game he chose a sharp variation of the French. But Tal was very inspired and won a very good attacking game. So now this is the second game with Black for Botvinnik, who decided not to try his luck so obviously, and switch back to his rock solid Caro-Kann defense. And Tal plays this relatively rare system. In fact, in his comments, he doesn't consider it a sideline. He thinks that maybe d4 is better than this system with knight c3 and knight f3, but does not give a clear opinion about it. And now he played the move g takes f3. Well, I mean, it's an ugly move. It's an ugly move. Black spoils his pawn structure, and even Tal self-ironically says that, well, if you see this move, the first thing you think is, well, you should tell to that player that he should study some very simple textbook. I mean, about how you play with the pawns. And but if a strong player does it, then it means he has some plan. I mean, okay, White strengthens his center. Now there is no obvious way for Black to release the tension, to break with c5 or e5 or take on e4. All these Caro-Kann methods are not available. So okay, the effect of surprise may help somehow. Actually, Tal even confesses that he analyzed this and he even played training games before the match. So it was some sort of interesting preparation. It is also true that in his later years, Tal would never play such a move. I remember some stories told by Yasser Seiravan or Gena Sosonko. I mean, when it came of such positioning ugly pawn moves, when he saw one or when somebody suggested to him one, his reaction would be, internal. Somehow he could not stand it, just like if it was smelling badly or something. I mean, he would have this natural disgust for such moves. But when he was young, he thought that, well, maybe it would go. And okay, in his analysis, he had planned to go bishop e3 and then queen d2 and long castle. Actually, I don't see why White's position is so bad. Truly, I mean, Black is solid, but okay, he has to choose a location for his king. He's not too well developed yet, so okay, it may be a game. But then somehow the thing that made Tal so brilliant, but also sometimes so unstable, was that he got an over-the-board inspiration, and he played bishop f4. Bishop f4 is obviously aiming for some piece activity, but strategically is not sound because the d4 pawn is left without sufficient support, and after bishop b4, like Botvinnik played, now the problem is that if a3, bishop a5, the bishop would get to c7, and since the bishop's exchange is not favoring White because he has a weak square on f4, it means that the bishop simply does not stand well on f4. It would have to retreat, losing a tempo. And understanding this, Tal made improvised another move, h4, which does not attack anything and just wastes a tempo. And actually, he confesses that he wanted to provoke the move knight f6, because if knight e7, then h5, well, there is some domination against this knight. But okay, Botvinnik played knight f6. And now again, Tal had calculated something like this, a pawn sacrifice, something he was not prepared to do when he did the opening preparation. But then he came to the conclusion that actually after queen f5, for instance, Black is at least okay. So in this position he played e5. Well, already when you play e5, with the bishop on f4, it is clear that you lose a tempo after knight h5, and then you block the position. The f5 square is now weak. Actually, we can see only the bad parts of White's so-called strategy. Still, it's interesting that Tal did not lose this game. Botvinnik got a clear advantage, but then he was focusing very much on the king side, where he has had some targets, and this is some sort of tricky strategy to weaken one of the wings in order to distract the opponent's attention and forces to that area, and then to strike on the other side. And this is how Tal somehow managed to get to draw by perpetual, and so to maintain his lead in the match. But of course, this was not an encouraging experience, and we'll see in the next game how he somehow adapted his strategy for the next for the latest part of the match.